everybody. Spring has sprung outside. Rev Dave has been super busy working at his desk doing all kinds of stuff that Jan refuses to do over there. But I needed to take a break and get my rant and rave on. So here we go. Let's consult my little Rev Dave's Journal of Rant and Rave. I should put a sticker right there. Wouldn't it be cool to have a sticker? I should do that. But anyway, here we go. What do we got? We got some James Bond stuff. I've done plenty of James Bond stuff recently. What else? Ooh, there's some video game notes here. Got some stuff about Final Fantasy 16. Gave up video games for Lent and didn't give up talking about video games for Lent, but it feels it disingenuous. Come back after Easter. I got me some good rants, some raves about Final Fantasy 16. What else do we have? Went to see Hail Mary last week. I'll make another video about that maybe tomorrow or something. That's a great movie. So that leaves us, here we go. That leaves us Starfleet Academy. I gotta sit down for this one. So, okay, so two things. First, Rev Dave likes himself some Star Trek. Like, I'm not a Trekkie or anything, guys, but I enjoy Star Trek. I enjoy what it is. I really like the first season Star Trek, you know what I mean? Whether it was in the first season or not, I really like me some Naked Now. Really like me queuing whatever archaeological chick shows up on Deep Space Nine, and the Deep Space Nine writers like, let's not bring Q into this at all ever again. I love me that stuff. Move along home. Great stuff. Move along home. I love me some cheesy, weird, out-of-the-box Star Trek stuff. I love me all the decks on Voyager get kind of rearranged, and they all end up in the holo suite where some sort of French cafe is being holo projected. I actually think that was the second season, but that's good stuff. I love me some weird Star Trek stuff. The second thing I want to say is I did watch every episode of Starfleet Academy. I slogged through it. By watch, I mean it was kind of on in the background, and Jan and I kind of listened to it while we were working on other church stuff. So I did watch the whole thing, and it was not easy, even in the background. But with those two things in mind, I know we live in an age where something's either got to be the best thing ever, or it's got to be the worst thing ever. And I want you to use kind of your imagination, use that right hemisphere of your brain. I know you can, even if you're right-handed, you can use that hemisphere. And I want you to imagine with me, what if something isn't the best thing ever or the worst thing ever? What if those are not the only two options? What if there's other options? Like, what if Starfleet Academy was the most okay thing ever? What if it was just fine? And it was okay. Yeah, think about it. Could have been just okay. I mean, it was there, and they made it, and they wrote it, and they acted it. And, there's a Jem'Hadar Klingon hybrid, but, this is 800 years in the future. Could have figured that out by now. Why 800 years? I'm like, why did it have to be so long? And I know that was a Discovery thing, but why 8? That just seems an absurd amount of time. 800 years ago, like the Crusades were still going on, and the Roman Empire was still around, the eastern part. Fun fact, actually, I went and looked it up. Remember that Voyager episode where the backup of the Doctor's program is kind of found and rebooted in an alien civilization, and he has to convince them that the Voyager didn't commit genocide? That was 700 years after Voyager. So that's like, that already happened 100 years before Starfleet Academy happened. That's kind of crazy to think about. I think the writers of this show and the show producers, they dodged some bullets. I thought they were going to hit them. Like in the first episode when they were like, oh, Starfleet Academy is both a spaceship and a campus. I was like, oh, that's just, they're going to do 2009 Star Trek stuff and it's going to all take place in space. But they didn't do that. I like how it was grounded in San Francisco, and they still made time for actual kids actually going to college to prepare themselves for actual space travel. And it would make sense that Starfleet Academy would have a spaceship to do training missions on. They did that in the Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan Begins as a training mission for Starfleet cadets. And so it made sense. They only used it in a couple episodes, which I thought was actually a heads-up move on their part. The villain was okay. I could have used with less monologuing. That trial at the end was really weird. And it resolved kind of weird and cheesy, but it was fine. It was fine. I don't know. Actually, probably the best thing I could say about the best compliment I could give to Starfleet Academy is that my wife would like it. So there you go. She doesn't like any Star Trek, but I think she'd like this if she came in and watched it with Jan and I, but she has her own life and her own things she's doing. So Jan, Jan she didn't follow along with anything. What was that, Jan? Yeah, she agrees. So anyway, most okay thing ever. There we go. See ya next time.